All right, we're going to go ahead and get started now. Um, so welcome to today's training on Lucidchart for UX. Super excited to have you with us today. Before we get started, just a little bit about me. My name is Paige McGregor, and I am a product education specialist here at Lucidchart. So I've been doing this for quite a while. Before that, I was a customer success manager, so I managed a book of about 500 accounts. So I've been doing this for quite a while. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about quickly is Zoom. Zoom is the tool that we're going to be using today for this presentation. Now with that, throughout today's presentation, please ask me any questions that you have along the way. I want to be sure to make this as effective for you as possible. So you can let me know by two ways any questions or comments you have. The first is through the chat and the second is through the Q&A. Now, if you use the chat, please be sure to turn it to all panelists and attendees. So that way everybody's able to see your comments, and if somebody else has the same question, they'll be able to see that. The last thing to touch on is that there will be a recording sent out after the webinar. We'll hopefully get it out to you at some point today, if not on Monday. So keep an eye out for that so you'll be able to come back at any time and kind of revisit what we go through. All right. So let's get started talking about why Lucidchart. So with Lucidchart, we're going to talk today about how you're going to be able to see really the bigger picture and create clarity with visual documentation. You'll find that Lucidchart is super easy to use. It doesn't take like 6 years of study or a thick manual to use the product. It's super intuitive and really easy for first-time users as well as seasoned pros. So it really helps the level the playing field, be super intuitive, and make your process more efficient. It's also very collaborative, so it helps to eliminate some of those friction points between versioning control, where you're trying to find the right design. It's often a team effort, so it makes it so you can use Lucidchart as a single source of truth and a central repository where your coworkers can come in at any time and you can collaborate in real time, as well as make comments that you can view later. Lucidchart is also cloud-based, so you're able to access your wireframes and mockups on any platform, any operating system, any device at any time. So also very helpful for making sure that it's as effective for you as possible. And then finally, Lucidchart is also really great for presentations. So once you have your really great mockups built out, you're able to create presentations directly in Lucidchart, where you can get others on board and show them what your vision is before you get started to get that approval that you need. So as you can see, Lucidchart is the perfect tool for creating really interactive wireframes that are demo ready and help you to generate buy-in. So we're going to be talking about three main challenges today, and we're going to be looking at how we can solve them with Lucidchart. The first one is, like I mentioned before, needing to have a really easy way to see the big picture of how user journeys or flows are working. So I know that you guys are using some a little bit more intricate software. This is going to show you how you can kind of have a higher level big picture journey that you can have a lot of people collaborating on, which brings us to our next challenge, which is having multiple people on your team find consensus. We're going to show you how you can really eliminate those friction points in Lucidchart. And then finally, we're going to be talking about the wonderful thing of versioning control. I think we are all familiar with the experience of having to keep track of multiple versions. It can be a complete nightmare. So we're going to look at how you can have the most up-to-date version of your diagram really easily accessible, and then keep track of different versions. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So this first example, this is a challenge that you're often faced with, is needing to easily see the big picture of how things are working, right? So here, this top diagram is showing your proposal that was actually created here at Lucidchart. I'll zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. One of our functionalities is our AWS import functionality. So this is an example of our user journey through using that import functionality. And you can see we've got a couple of different components here. You've got the screenshots of what the journey currently looks like. We've also got, so we've got the existing flow. We've also got different emojis and that are outlining the map and the experience through each step. You also have different text here so we can see different ideas, what we like, what we don't like, things like that. This bottom diagram here, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. is a brainstorm of the user journey through Lucidchart's data linking functionality. So a little bit of a different functionality, and you can see it's a little bit of a different diagram here, but this is a user journey, and it was created during the early days of planning that feature and functionality out. So something else that you can create in Lucidchart. You can see again here, we've got different formatting, different text, things like that. All right, so let's build it. Let's try it out and see what this looks like building this in Lucidchart. So for those of you that are new to Lucidchart, this is the canvas. So when you first come in to start making edits on your diagram, this is what you'll see in the editor. So let's go ahead. The first thing we'll need to do is to bring in screenshots or prototypes from our applications and start drawing connections. So let's just go ahead and jump into Kingland's website. We'll take a screenshot. Super easy to do. For those of you that are using a Mac, you can do just Command Control 4, and that'll take a screenshot for you. Jump back into Lucidchart, Command V, and paste this screenshot here onto our canvas. Now, as this is uploading, there are a couple of things that I do want to point out to you. A lot of people don't know that you can actually crop images in Lucidchart. So what I'm going to do is right-click on this screenshot we brought in, click Crop Image, and now I can crop this a little bit to fit better. Click Enter, go ahead and crop that directly in Lucidchart. All right. So something that's really cool as you're building out these mockups and wireframes is you're able to actually draw line connections that are interactive with your screenshots. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out a process shape. Again, super easy drag and drop interface, drag, release this on the canvas. And there are a couple of different line types that I want to show you as we're drawing these connections. The first one is just a precise line. Now, I'll kind of split the three out. So there's a precise line, and that's what you're going to use when you want to connect your line to a particular part of your screenshot. So I'll show you when we drag this line up, a precise line is going to be connected to wherever we like. You can see we can drag it left and right and have that connect to our screenshot. The next thing you can do is drag just beyond the border of the shape. So you'll see it here, just beyond the border, and it highlights blue. When we do that, we've created a smart line, so it's going to find the most efficient pathway to our next shape. And the last thing that I think you'll use probably most often is having a line connection that actually interacts with the screenshots. What we'll do is we'll go ahead, draw this line out from this red node, hold down to your line, you'll hold your mouse for a minute. You can drag beyond the border and actually create this line wherever you'd like, interacting with our screenshot. So really cool and helpful as you're trying to build out your new user journey and for getting a very clear idea of what it is we're working on. All right. You're also able to customize your different line styles. So if you come up to this properties bar at the top of the screen, there's a couple ways you can do that. The first thing is dependent, you can decide if you want a straight line, a curved line, or a bent line. So you've got these different options here. You can easily change those. You can also change your endpoints if there's something in particular that you prefer, or have none. And you can also swap your endpoint. So if we select this line here, we can click swap, and you'll see now the arrow is going to face the opposite direction. So a couple of different line styles there for you. Now, something else that might come in handy as you're building out these mockups is turning your line connections off. You'll see that whenever we hover over a shape, these red nodes appear, and those are going to automatically draw out lines like I was showing you earlier. What you are able to do is come over to the dock on the right-hand side of your screen, click on this page settings button, scroll down to the bottom, and turn off line connections. So now those lines are no longer, those red nodes are no longer going to appear, and we don't have to worry about accidentally drawing the lines out from our different screenshots. All right. A couple other things that are really helpful here when you're building out your mockups are adding text. Now, a lot of times you're wanting to kind of draw attention to whatever it is you are proposing or changing, and so a great way to do that is to use this sticky note shape over here on the left-hand side of your screen. You can drag this out at any time and write whatever text you would like. So really helpful to just kind of have notes along the process of things that maybe you want to revisit later or have questions on. You can also easily write text out by just double-clicking on any space in the canvas. So just double-click and start typing. So super easy, intuitive, and efficient process for adding text. You're also able to add text to your lines. So like you've seen here, I believe on this process, you can see that there's different lines that have text here. So for example, this one says sample data. You can go ahead and add that by just, again, double clicking on the line. You can type any text you would like, and that will be on the line. And then once you have that text there, you can select it and drag it through different parts of the line. So you can have that really wherever you're wanting it to be. So super helpful. Something else that's really helpful as you're building out your mockups is to pull in different shapes or icons using our search functionality. So on our other example here, we have a lot of different emoji icons. A lot of other icons that are popular are things like social media icons. So I'm going to show you guys how you can search for all these different things. Over here on the toolbox on the far left, we have this search functionality. Now our toolbox is where all of our shapes, images, and icons are going to live. I'm going to go ahead and click search. And this is really cool. So our shapes, we have hundreds of different shapes you can search from. And if you click on this shape cogwheel, they're all going to pull up and you can search through them by categories. But what's really helpful is if you're looking for a particular shape, you can just type in the title of that shape. Maybe you want like a swim lane. And Lucidchart is going to pull that shape from every shape library so you can quickly and easily see that, drag it out, and start using it. So really helpful to make that process a little bit quicker for you. You're also able to search images directly from the internet. So this is really helpful rather than having to go into Google, search for an image, download it, save it, come back into your Lucidchart diagram, upload it. You can do this all here. So you could go ahead and search for things like maybe a logo, whatever it might be that you need in your mockup, you can search for that here. And then finally, icons are super helpful. So things like LinkedIn, if you wanted to have a social media connection, you're able to search for those using the toolbox. All right, I'm just going to check really quickly and see if we have any questions, and then we'll go ahead and jump into our next example. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into our next example then. This is an example that, again, was used here at Lucidchart. Really, really cool here. When our team was working on promoting data service automation, they were able to use Lucidchart to mark up different touch points in the existing product where they assumed we could potentially add more awareness and education about the new feature. And so both our UX team and our product management team were able to use Lucidchart to work together to explore how to promote the feature better. So zooming in here a little bit so you can see kind of what's been done here. You can see here we've got our current product. You can see that we've got our marked up touch points. We've got text explaining better ways we could promote the functionality. They were able to add different screenshots of the product, mark it all up, make it super easy for everybody to be on the same page. And then our adoption team was also able to come in and create this flow. Of course, not wanting to be too intrusive, but also wanting to increase adoption. You can see that they were able to have everybody on the same page, same document here, and work on that promotion. So let's look at kind of how they were able to really take advantage of our collaboration functionalities to work together as a team. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is, like I mentioned before, our real-time collaboration functionalities. So as you're working with different departments and needing to generate buy-in, it's really important that everybody has the most up-to-date version of the diagram and that you're able to talk back and forth at the same time. So coming over here to the dock on the far right, our dock is going to be where our more advanced functionalities are. So all of our sharing and collaborating functionalities are going to exist over here. So we'll go ahead and select this little chat button here at the third from the bottom. Now, this chat functionality works just like an instant messenger. So anytime you've got multiple people in the diagram at the same time, you're able to talk back and forth, just like an IM would work about and have different dialogue about what it is you're creating. So you can make whatever comment you would like here. Now, something to keep in mind is as you're using the chat, as soon as you leave Lucidchart, the chat is going to disappear. So it's really meant just for that real-time collaboration while you have multiple people in the diagram. If, however, you are wanting to collaborate with somebody that maybe isn't in the diagram at the same time as you, or you're wanting to keep a history of those comments, we've got a really great functionality for that as well, and that's our commenting functionality. Now, coming up to the top of our doc, this second icon here, it's our comments. There are two types of comments we're going to talk about today. The first type is a global comment, and that's a comment on the diagram as a whole. So for example, if you wanted to share this with a product manager and you were in UX, you could create a comment and say, this is my thoughts on how we're better going to promote this feature going forward. The way you'll create this global comment is you want to make sure that you click on the canvas somewhere blank, so nothing is selected. You click this plus button, and then you can always double check here at the bottom. It says you're commenting on the overall document. At that point, you can @mention anybody. I'll go ahead and @mention my coworker Jacob, and I'll just say test. And now what's going to happen is Jacob is going to receive an email letting him know that he has a new comment on a document that has been shared with him. Now in that email, he'll have a little button that he'll click and it will pull him directly into this Lucidchart diagram. When he comes in, this will highlight red and it will let him know that he has a comment where he can come in, respond to me, and click resolve as soon as he is finished with that. We can have that dialogue go on as long as we'd like. And the cool thing about this is this dialogue is going to store in Lucidchart and you can access it at any time. So really, really cool. I'm going to show you the other type of comment quickly, and that is our shape-specific comments. This is my favorite functionality, especially as you're working with different teams to build something like this out. You might really need some feedback on a specific part of this diagram, right? So what we would do is we could scroll in so you can see a little bit better. I'll select this screenshot in particular, right click, select add comment. And now you'll notice that it says you're commenting on the currently selected shape. So now we know this is no longer a global comment, it's a shape-specific comment. At this point, we could @mention Jacob, click create, and now a couple things have happened. You'll see, first off, this shape now has a little yellow quotation mark here, letting us know that there is a comment that's been made on this specific shape. Now, I want to show you guys why this is so amazing. When you are working with other teams, let's just say they came into this Lucidchart document and they were on this intro page. They received this comment and they're wondering what it is we're talking about, right? They're like, well, there's a lot going on here. I'm not sure exactly what it is you're referring to. What they can do is you can click on this little pin locator button and it will take you directly to whatever part of the document it is we're talking about. So it really helps eliminate those friction points in communication and make sure that everybody's on the same page. Again, Jacob can respond, and when he's done, he can click resolve. Now, like I mentioned before, you at any time can come in and see all of the comments that have been made on this document. So how you will do that is by coming to this comment button, clicking on this drop down, and you can see sort by 3 different things. First is any comments that are currently active on the diagram. Second is any that have been resolved and closed. You can select this, and at any point you can reopen these comments and continue that dialogue. And then finally, you can also sort by any that are associated with you in particular, so that way you can make sure that you're quickly and easily seeing things that maybe you're involved on. Okay, so now we know a little bit about how to real-time collaborate, how to create comments, how to use the chat functionality. Let's look at our functionality we've created for versioning control. So when you have multiple people working on a document, I think we've all experienced the pain of having people come in and maybe change things that we don't agree with, or maybe we start to not like the direction of the diagram or how it's going. Maybe our mock-up, we liked how it was before, we maybe forgot what that looked like. We have an amazing feature for that. So over here in the doc, again on the right, you'll see this little clock button. When you select this, this is a revision history where you're able to see every change that's been made on your Lucidchart diagram. So Lucidchart is going to automatically store these every 2 to 3 minutes. And at any point, you can go ahead and select any version you like. You can see, first off, who made those changes, when they were made, how long ago they were made. You can select that version, and then you can either restore your diagram to that previous version, or you can create a new diagram. So perhaps you're building out a mock-up, you kind of like how it's going, but you kind of liked how it was before. You could create a new one from your revision, and you can keep going in both directions. So really cool functionality there when you've got a lot of people, a lot of hands in one pot. Very helpful. Now let's suppose you need to generate buy-in from somebody that doesn't have a Lucidchart account. How would you go about doing that? What you'll want to do is you'll come up to this orange share button on the top right-hand side of the screen. Go ahead and click share. You'll be able to title your diagram, click save. Now, if you're sharing with anybody in your organization, it'll be super easy. All you'll have to do is start typing in their name, and they will get a notification that the diagram's been shared with them. You're also able to change any of their permissions you'd like. So maybe you only want them to be able to comment on the diagram. Totally fine, you can do that. Maybe you're working with product managers and you only want them to comment. You don't want them to move things around. Just give them those comment functionalities. Once you've given them those functionalities, you can go ahead and click on this advanced button here on the bottom left. And you can see everybody the diagram's been shared with, whatever their permissions are. And at any point, you can change their permissions or you can remove them and their permissions from this diagram. Now for sharing with people that don't have a Lucidchart account, what you'll want to do is select this publish button over here on the left, and you can do what's called publishing a URL, or you can publish a area selection, whatever you'd like. Now, how this works is it's going to be very interactive. So let's just say you built out your mockup and you have action links and it's a dynamic diagram showing you exactly what that user flow would look like. If you publish this diagram as a full document URL, whoever is viewing it is going to be able to use all the interactivity. If you do it as a PDF, they will not have those interactivity functionalities, but they will be able to see the static image. And then an area selection is really, really cool, and I'll show you why. Let's just say you're working with somebody, you need to generate buy-in, but you don't want to show them your whole diagram. What you're able to do is select just a portion of that diagram. So I can show you here. We can select this portion. It's all grayed out, letting you know that we're able to select that. You'll see that Lucidchart has generated this link. We can go ahead and copy that. We'll paste it. And now we're able to see just that portion of our diagram. This is really cool, especially if you're working with maybe an external consultant or somebody else needs to see this diagram, because this link is going to update in real time. So it's really helpful, again, for those versioning issues, making sure that everybody's on the same page with the most up-to-date diagram. In fact, I'll show you what that looks like. I'll go ahead, come in here, we'll delete this, jump back into here, and you'll see that once my internet loads, it deletes and that image is no longer there. So of course, up-to-date real-time changes being made, really cool there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and check for any questions. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the Q&A or the chat, and then we will continue on. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our next example. All right, so this diagram was created by one of our clients that we work with quite often, who is Mozilla Firefox. And we do have permission to show this diagram, just so you know. But this diagram is an example of a user flow that they were redesigning. And what Firefox wanted was a solution that really clarified multiple iterations of wireframes, mockups, and graphic assets. The reason being is those objects were being updated again and again over the course of a project. And so they were able to use Lucidchart and create this diagram as their central source of truth, so that everybody always had the most up-to-date user journey with links to current mockups at each step. So what they did is, this is a dynamic diagram where they created action links. You can see here, all these green buttons are different action links. And when I select them, they're gonna pull me to additional resources that are external. So you can see a different part of their mockup. So let's learn a little bit about how Mozilla did this and some tips and tricks along the way. The first thing that we notice is that they were able to add these links to files, external websites, any other resources or sub-processes that needed to be associated with their user flow. So how you do that is you can select any process. I'll go ahead and select this one and use our keyboard shortcut, Command K. When you do that, you're able to choose an action. And at this point, we'll go ahead and select external link because we're wanting to link to an external resource. You're also able to link to page if you're wanting to perhaps do a mockup that walks you through a flow in Lucidchart. You could start each part of the process on a different page and kind of walk through that way. But we'll go ahead and use external link for today's example. We'll go ahead and copy this URL back into Lucidchart, paste it, click done. And now this is an external link, and when we select it, it's going to pull us to that external resource. So really helpful for supplementing your user flows with any external documentation you might need. Another thing that Mozilla did is you'll see that there are a lot of customized shapes here. A lot of these red shapes, they also have their legends, so different things that are custom shapes that they've created. So I want to show you guys how you can create custom shapes and libraries to make your creating mockups really quickly and easily for you. So what you'll want to do is come over to the toolbox here on the far left. We'll go ahead and click this shape cogwheel. And then we're going to click this plus next to My Libraries. When we do that, you'll see that Lucidchart's asking us what the title of our new library is. We'll go ahead, say Kingland Demo. Now, if you're wanting to upload any SVGs or Visio stencil files, you can do all that here. And additionally, you're able to create custom shaped libraries that you can share with your whole team. So you could create a library, maybe if there's a certain mockup shape you're wanting to use, you could put all that here in Lucidchart. Maybe if there's like certain colors you want to use, go ahead and click share, and your whole team will have access to this custom library. So really, really cool there. We'll go ahead and close out. And when we create these custom libraries, we'll go ahead and search for it here at the top. We'll go ahead and select it, close out, and now you'll see that this custom shape library is going to be over here on our toolbox. To add these shapes to our library, so a great example is maybe if there's a shape in our legend we want to use going forward, we just select it, drag, and release it. And now, as we're building out our process flow, we can quickly and easily pull out that shape. Now, a quick tip and trick for you guys here, one of my very favorite keyboard shortcuts, if you click Alt, and hold down Alt, you can create exact copies of shapes. So again, really promoting that efficiency there in Lucidchart. Okay. Now, not only can you create custom shaped libraries, but you're also able to create custom templates. So again, really, really helpful if there's maybe different branding you want to have or different legends that you already want to have populated. Maybe there's shape libraries and legends, and you want those all to be on your canvas when you come in. What you'll want to do is you can come back to your documents page. We'll go ahead and select this diagram we're using. And we'll go ahead and come over to this More button on the bottom right. When we click More, you're able to click Convert to Template. At that point, you can choose whatever category you'd like this template to fall under, as well as give any description you would like for that template. When you click Save, this template is now going to be accessible for anybody at the team. So anybody's able to come in and use that template going forward, and it really helps to streamline your process and make it so everybody's kind of creating the same things or promote any standardization you might need. Something else that's really, really cool to help keep your project organized and really easy to reference is you've got multiple people working on them, is to do what I call assign attributes to your diagram. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this back to a document. And you'll see here in this folder, we have a couple of different diagrams that are marked complete. When you come over to this More button, you're able to click, gotta let it switch back to a document really quickly. I'll use this one over here. You're able to click More and click Assign Attributes. And at that point, you're able to assign whatever status your diagram is. So maybe it's a draft, and you can go ahead and assign that. So when whoever you're working with jumps in, they'll know that this diagram's not completed yet, or if it is completed, and everybody will be on the same page about where you're at with your mockup or wireframe. All right. Now, once you have your diagrams created and they look pretty complete, maybe you want to generate some buy-in on that. And I know that you guys use Confluence quite a bit. So Confluence is a great place to store these diagrams. And I'm going to show you how to embed your diagram in Confluence once it's been created. So what you'll want to do is come to Confluence and create a new page. This is a page that we've created already as a demo page. And a quick tip and trick for you again here, you want to make sure that you title your page because you're not going to be able to add a diagram until you title it. Once you've done that, go ahead and come up to this plus icon where it says insert more content on the top right and click on add Lucidchart diagram. That button should already be there for you. We've got you integrated with your Confluence, so it should be pretty quick and easy process for you. Once you've done that, Lucidchart's going to pull you into a very robust viewer of your documents page. We're able to scroll through and see any different diagrams that you've created. So I'm going to go ahead and select this diagram. All right, once we've selected our diagram, we'll go ahead and click Publish. And you'll see that, again, very rich view of your diagram. You can, if it's interactive, if you've created any of those action links, those will all work here in Confluence. You're also able to zoom in and zoom out. And if you want to make any changes, you can click on this little pencil icon. It will pull you back into Lucidchart. You can make any changes that you'd like to make, click back to Confluence, and it'll push those changes back to Confluence for you. So again, really helps for making sure that everybody is up to date on the same page and that you can use Lucidchart really as that single source of truth. Alrighty, that is all I had prepared for you guys today. And so what I'm going to do is launch this poll quickly. If you guys will answer it and let us know how was the webinar today, what things can we do to make it better. We're always wanting to improve. And then I'm going to open up this last little bit here for any questions you might have. We're happy to answer any questions live or send any additional resources that we need. And then going forward, Jacob Wisner will be your customer success manager. And I know he's super happy to work with you and answer any questions you might have. So I've got his email pulled up here for you. So definitely email Jacob. But if you let us know how we did, that would be very helpful. And we'll go ahead and start answering questions. Thanks, guys. All right, it looks like we have answered pretty much all the questions. So if you guys have any questions going forward, please go ahead and ask Jacob those. He's happy to answer them. And thank you for joining us today. It's been great to have you with us, and I hope you have a great rest of your Friday.